Today we are going to discuss balance of payment. Basically, it is known as BOP. So, balance of payment is a statement of all transactions made between the entities in one country and the rest of the world over a defined period of time, such as quarter or a year. So, balance of payment, as we know, there is a balance or an equilibrium between cash inflows or cash outflows. So, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss that what are the transactions that are made between the different entities of one country, whether it is individual or within the government, how the transaction was done with our country or with any country with the rest of the world over the definite period of time. So, starting with a country has to deal with other countries in respect of following things. Means basically the transaction which I say earlier, it is divided into three main categories. One is visible items, other is invisible items, and third is capital transfers. So by visible item, I mean the items which include the physical goods exported and imported, the goods which are physically seen or physically touched. Likewise, invisible items include all those services whose export and import are not visible. It is same as when we talking about goods and services. Goods are a tangible assets which can be touched, which can be seen. It can be anything such as we import gold, grain, we import any electronic item. So visible goods are those goods which are physically exported and imported, whereas invisible items are those services whose export and import are not visible. Basically, these are transport services, medical services, etc. And the third major classification is capital transfers. So by capital transfer, we means which are concerned with capital receipt and capital payment. So capital transfer means when we are receiving or when we are paying some money or something in monetary value terms, that is covered under capital transfer. Now, if we are talking about balance of payment, so according to Kendall, the balance of payment of a country is a systematic record of all economic transactions between the resident of the reporting country and resident of foreign country during a given period of time. So basically it is a transaction, or it we can say it is a systematic record of transaction which are related to cash, which are related to money, which are related to, in short, we can say it is an economic transaction, and that transaction is between a resident of country. Resident of country means, likewise, I am a resident of my country and I am exporting something to another country, that is I am a resident of the reporting country. And the resident of foreign country means the person to whom I am exporting my product, so that is a resident of foreign country during a given period of time. It is basically a double entry system of record of all the economic transactions between the resident of country and the rest of the world carried out in a specific period of time. So it is the transactions of export and imports. What we receive or what we receive or what we are paying, what we are exporting, what we are importing, when we record all the transaction in a systematic way, that term is defined as a balance of payment. So when we say a country balance of payment, we are referring to the transactions of its citizens and government, whether it is me or prime minister. Whenever we are exporting or importing something to our country or to another country, that all covered under a balance of payment. So the balance of payment of a country is a systematic record of all the economic transaction between the resident of a country and the rest of a world. Rest of a world means any country except our country, the transaction between us and rest of a world. It present a classified record of all the receipt on the account of goods export. So when we export something, there was something we receive. So that is termed as receipts. Services rendered and the capital received. So as I explained earlier, the things which we are dealing in the balance of payment was categorized into three parts. One is visible item, other is invisible, and third is capital transfer. So here it is the same as explained earlier. So the goods we exported, that is visible item. The services rendered, that is invisible item, and capital received, that is our capital transfer by the resident, and the payment made by them on the account of goods imported, and the services received from the capital transfer to the non-residents or foreigners. Now, what are the features? So starting with first, it is a systematic record. Now it is clear that a balance of payment is a systematic record of all the transaction which was done between one country with the rest of the world. The second thing is it include all the transaction, whether they are visible or invisible. The third main feature is it relate to the period of time, means some time is fixed. The time period is not unlimited. It is generally an annual statement. Likewise, in a business or in a corporate sector, we prepare profit and loss account, we prepare trading account. In the same way, here, if we are recording the transaction of a country, there was a one statement which we known as a balance of payment, and it is an annual statement. Another feature is it is a double entry bookkeeping system, because we are recording all the transactions. So it is a bookkeeping system and it is double entry system. What is credit, that is also debit. It has two sides, one is credit side and other is debit side. As we know, receipts are recorded on credit side and payments are on debit side. Now there is another word which is called as a balance of trade. That is balance of payment, and now we are doing a balance of trade. These are two separate terms. The difference between a country's import and its export. Basically, balance of payment is a systematic record of all the imports or exports which was done between the resident country and with the rest of the world. But if I'm talking about balance of trade, it is just a difference between import and exports. So the balance of trade is a largest component of the country's balance of payment. So balance of trade covered under a balance of payment. So here the debit items include imports, foreign aids, domestic spending abroad, and the domestic investment abroad. We are going to invest something in abroad, that is also come on the debit side. We are spend some money on in foreign countries, that is also come under a debit side. If we import something, if there is some kind of a foreign aid which our country is receiving, that is all on the debit side. On another hand, if I'm talking about credit side, here the items which include is exports, foreign spending in domestic economy, and the foreign investment in the domestic economy. The money which was coming into our countries come under a credit side, and money which is spent by our country is covered under debit side. So when exports are greater than imports, then the BOT, that is balance of trade, is favorable. And if imports are greater than export, then it is unfavorable. So balance of trade is simply means when we minus imports from the export. If imports are greater, then if exports are greater, then we can say the balance of trade is favorable, that money which we spent is less than money which we earned. So the balance of trade is in a favorable situation. And vice versa, if import are greater than export, then it is unfavorable. It is as simple as that we spend larger amount than we earn, then our profit is in negative side, or we can say we are having losses. The situation is unfavorable. A simple difference between balance of trade and balance of payment. So the very first is a balance of payment take account all the transaction with the rest of the world, whereas the balance of trade takes account all trade transaction with the rest of the world. The trade transaction means only import and export. And in balance of payment, all transactions means we can do transaction of visible items, invisible item, as well as capital transfers. So now the importance of balance of payment. Why a country or why an economy need a balance of payment statement? So the first reason is very simple why we need the balance of payment, because it records all the transactions that create demand for and supply of currency. The flow of foreign currency was justified with the help of a balance of payment, that how much currency was coming into our country and how much we are going to spend. Judge economy and the financial status of country in a short term. So if, as I say earlier, the balance of payment is an annual statement, so it can give a graph or it can give us a description that how our economy was working during that year and what was our financial status. So BOP may confirm trend in economy, international trade and exchange rate of a currency. By balance of payment statement, we come to know about how our trade is going, how export and import we are doing is working or not, and what was the exchange rate of the currencies. This may also indicate the change or a reversal in the trend. So if there is something change or some trend is reversed, so we come to know about that with the help of a balance of payment. This may indicate a policy shift of a monetary authority of the country. So monetary authority of a country is Reserve Bank of India. If Reserve Bank or RBI change any monetary policy, so that can be easily depicted by the balance of payment. We can come to know about the changes with our export and import through the balance of payment. So BOP may confirm trend in economy, international trade and exchange rate of a country, and this may also indicate the change and reversal. This point is repeated. Now, the next thing is a general rule in BOP accounting. So how balance of payment accounting is done? The simple rule is, if a transaction earns foreign currency for a nation, it is a credit and is recorded as a plus item. That is, if with a transaction we earn some foreign currency, then but obvious it comes under a credit side and adds to the value of the BOP. Second thing is, if a transaction involves spending of a foreign currency, means that we are spending our currency or we are spending our currency in abroad or we are spending a foreign currency, that is our expense. So it come under a debit side and is recorded as a negative item. These are a common or basic rules of BOP. If we earn some foreign currency, that is a plus item and that is shown on the credit side of our statement. And on the other hand, if we are spending some foreign currency, then it is a debit item and recorded as a negative thing. Now there are four components which we are taken or which we considered while preparing our balance of payment statement. The very first is current account, then capital account, then there is reserve account, and last is errors and omissions. So one by one we are going to start. So first I am starting with current account balance. The BOP on a current account is a statement of actual receipt and payment in a short period. So short period, by short period I mean that is a period of 1 year. So if I'm talking about current account, so the current account contains actual receipts and payment. It includes the value of export and imports of both visible and invisible good. They can either be surplus or deficit in the current account. Either it is possible that receipts are greater than payment. When receipts are greater than payment, the account depicts the surplus. Vice versa, if payments are more than receipts, then it shows the deficit in current account. The current account include export and import of services, interest, any profit, any dividend, any unilateral receipts, payments from or to abroad. BOP on a current account refer to illusion of three balance, namely merchandise balance, service balance, and unilateral transfer. So merchandise means goods which is visible. So it is visible items, that is merchandise goods. Then is service balance means invisible items, and unilateral transfer means our capital transfers. So if I'm talking about trade balance, the trade balance include two types, merchandise and services. So merchandise, export imports of goods, as simple as that, and services is import and export of services. The second balance is income balance, net investment income. Net investment income means the total income which we are invested. So net income received from the assets. Then is net international compensation to employees. Compensation means when we are giving something to employees. If our employee is international or a foreign, then the money which we are giving to them is also an income balance. And the last is net unilateral transfer, that is gift from foreign country minus gift to foreign country. That is the gifts which we are received from the foreign country is minus from the gifts or the items which we are gifted to foreign countries. The second account is capital account balance. The capital account record all international transactions that involve resident of a country concerned changing either his asset with or his liabilities to the resident of another country. Now, in the capital account, the transaction is of assets or liability. The transaction in the capital account reflect change in stock, that is either assets or liabilities. It is the difference between receipt and payment on the account of capital account. Now, if I'm talking about capital account, just remember that is a difference between receipt and payments. So it refers to all financial transactions. The capital account involves inflows and outflows relating to investment, short-term borrowings, lending, and medium-term to long-term borrowings and lending. There can be a surplus or deficit in capital account also. Capital account is same as a balance sheet in any company. So where we include assets and liability. Same the case in the capital account balance. Now there is a transactions which are related to assets and liability. So it can be in surplus or it can be in deficit. It include private foreign loan flow, movement in banking capital, official capital transactions, any reserves, any gold movement, etc. So these are classified into two main categories. One is direct foreign investment. The second is portfolio investment, and the rest of the investment we put in another capital. The third account is the reserve account. Basically, the three main account. The very first is IMF, that is International Monetary Fund. Second is SDR, that is Special Drawing Rights. And third is reserve and monetary gold, are collectively called as a reserve account. So these three accounts are collectively termed as a reserve account. Every country have to maintain some balance in IMF in form of SDRs. They have to maintain some reserves or some monetary gold. When these are the reserve items which is used by the company in case of emergencies. So IMF account contain purchase and repurchase from International Monetary Fund. A country or a resident country purchases or repurchases something from IMF, all come under the IMF account. The second thing is special drawing rights. Special drawing rights are the reserve asset created by IMF. Special drawing rights are generally a unit in which IMF deals and allocated from time to time to the member countries. It can be used to settle international payment between monetary authorities of two different countries. Monetary authorities of two different countries means likewise RBI is a monetary authority of our country and some other bank which is a monetary authority of another country. When the transactions are done between those two banks, that was in the form of special drawing rights. And the last account is errors and omission. The entry under this head relate mainly to leaks and lags in reporting of transaction. Errors or omissions by name we clarified or we understand that it means that if there is any leads or any lags in recording the transaction or in reporting the transaction, that was come under errors and omission. It is a balancing entry and is need to be offset and overstated or understated component, that we need to offset it because it is some error or we forgot something to add into our capital account or into our current account. So that come under your overstated or understated components. Now, the next thing is disequilibrium in balance of payment. A disequilibrium in balance of payment means it's a condition of surplus or deficit. Basically, surplus or deficit. Equilibrium means when there is a balance between the both things. The disequilibrium means there is certain condition which depicts surplus or deficit. Nothing is equal. So a surplus in BOP occur when total receipts exceed the total payment. Thus, BOP is equal to credit is more than debit. And the deficit in BOP occurs when total payment exceed the total receipt. Thus, BOP is equal to credit less than debits. And why this equilibrium causes? This is done because there is some cyclic fluctuations, shortfall in export, economic development, rapid increase in populations, there is some structural changes, the changes due to some natural calamities or international capital movement. All these reasons are responsible for disequilibrium between BOP, whether our BOP shows surplus or deficit, and the equilibrium condition is when your export is equal to your imports. Now, what were the measures to correct that disequilibrium? The first is a monetary measures, that is very simple. There are monetary policies or a fiscal policy. So monetary policies is concerned with the money supply and the credit in economy. That was under the RBI, that is a central bank. They can expand or contract the money according to need, and which will affect the prices. Then is fiscal policy. A fiscal policy is also a government policy that is on income and expenditure. The government incur developed and non-developed expenditure. It gets income through taxation and non-tax sources depending upon situation. Another is exchange rate depreciation. By reducing the value of domestic currency, the government can correct the disequilibrium in BOP. The exchange rate depreciation reduces the value of home currency in relation to foreign currency. Another method is devaluation. Devaluation simply means lowering the exchange value of the official currency. That what was the value of our currency, the government lower down the value. When a country devalues currency, exports become cheaper and imports become expensive, which causes reduction in BOP deficit. These all are measures which help to overcome the BOP deficits. Then is a deflation. Deflation is a reduction in the quantity of money to reduce prices and income. Likewise, in a domestic market, when the currency is deflated, there is a decrease in the income of a people. This put curbs on the consumption, and the government can increase export to earn more foreign exchange. All these are tactics how the country can increase their foreign exchange, foreign imports or export, basically exports. Then is exchange control. All exporters are directed by the monetary authority to surrender their foreign exchange earning, and the total available foreign exchange is rationalized among the licensed importer. The license holder can import any good, but the amount is fixed. They put some limitation on the amount, on the limit, that this much limit you can be authorized to import. Then all those are monetary measures. Then is some non-monetary measures according in which the first is export promotion. So basically to control the export promotion of the country may adopt the measures like export duties may be reduced, cash assistance, subsidies, good meant for exports can be exempted. And in the same way, in case of import subsidies, that the steps to encourage the production of import substitute. So this will save the foreign exchange in the short run by replacing the use of imports by these import substitutes. Then is the import control. The import may be kept in a check through the adoption of variety of ranges by putting some quotas or tariff. Under this, like government announces some quota that this much of value of commodity is imported during a given period. They imposes some restriction. That is the way in which a balance of payment improve. In the same way, there is a tariffs. Tariffs are a duties, or we can say it is a taxes, which is imposed on imports. When the tariffs are imposed, the prices of import would increase to extent to tariff. The price increase will reduce the demand for imported good, and at the same time, the time induces domestic producer to produce more of the import substitutes. Now, this is India's balance of payment. So a country like India, which is on the path of developing, generally experience a deficit situation. This is because a country requires imported machines, technologies, capital, equipments in order to be a successful and carry out the program of industrialization. So India's current balance of deficit narrowed to US dollar 6.2 billions, and that was of a year 2015, and now the deficit value is much more than that. This improvement was mainly on the count of a merchandise trade, which is contracted on year to year due to the large absolute decline in merchandise export. This import is increasing from year to year. The reduction in CAD, that is current account deficit, was also enable higher net earning through the services and lower outflows on the account of primary income. And the primary transfer receipts, that is also a main reason. Then the financial accounts, net inflows of a foreign direct investment were higher. Non-resident in India, domestic deposit received by the commercial bank during the quarters were much more than the double of the net inflows. The net loans availed by the bank witnessed an inflows, and in the year 2015, there was a net aggregation of US dollar 11.4 billions to India's foreign exchange reserve on a BOP basis. So why the BOP shows such a bad performance? The general causes are good domestic market. In India, we have not satisfied domestic market. Seller find a ready market for their good within the country, so they do not take part to get order from overseas. A number of formalities are there. There are a number of documentations and paperwork which do not let the exporter to enter into the export field. So they need not to do formalities. Problem of trading blocks. Trading blocks reduce the trade barriers on the member nation, but they impose this trade barrier on a non-member nation. As the India is not a member of some powerful trading blocks, it has to face some problem. Then is a negative attitude. Some of the overseas buyers have a negative attitude towards the Indian products. They feel that the Indian products are inferior and they need to be correct this attitude. Then is a poor infrastructure. Yeah, the India infrastructure is poor. Indian exporter find difficult to get order and also to deliver them at time. So that's it for the today lecture. I hope you enjoy the lecture, and thank you for having patience.